Stay with us. Daybreak Live starts now. Tom.
It starts anyway, regardless. Good
Good morning to you, Samson, this
really
morning.
Nice to be back here.
Yes, a beautiful day again.
But then, as we always say, the airlines are always new. You know, even if it develops, it's still new because people have a lot to munch on and discuss. But definitely, this one is not slowing down. About Remi Tinubu and, you know, a popular U.S. broadcaster who said, look, I decided and I did not give a platform to propagate, you know, what people will call soft power in America. But definitely, you know, I feel it's in several ways. You might just want to think about it with different perspectives. As a broadcast journalist, you give, regardless of the situation, you give them platforms. It now depends on the kind of questions you're asking.
You ask them.
Right? So you might just, you can bring someone on board thinking you are giving them the opportunity to tell the world their own side of the story, the way they want to tell it. But then when they get to the platform, you know what exactly you want to ask them. So it now depends on that person to be able to put that information out there, right? But then that depends on what you're asking them. So I think it was wrong to say I denied them platform, right? Everyone deserves to be heard. And no one should serve as a tool to actually keep some people silent. We know that, you know, recently it has not been that rosy with Nigeria as a country, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and definitely the Nigerian people when it comes to the world outlook, how people see Nigeria as a country. And, you know, whether you like it or not, these things are happening. Now it depends on the narratives being pushed out there. So are we having the right narrative out there? That's the question. And we wouldn't sit here and be the judge ourselves, right? We must have a level playing field for everyone. Okay, you have something to say, yes, come say it. If the people have a different opinion, we are going to ask you questions based on what people are saying, all right? If you can defend it, so be it. But I was really not too cool with the fact that someone came out to say, I mean, that amounts to discrediting not just the First Lady, but the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And right. that tells us how important what we have in Nigeria should really matter to us and how well we should develop our country. You can imagine if Nigeria has you know, such a very big platform, or big platforms where you can propagate what is going on in your country, and they are being supported. They are not being, you know, kept under wraps, right? You really don't have to be out there. In fact, they'll be sourcing for information from local media. But unfortunately, this is what we are seeing. Nigeria is in a state where the local media seem to be not enough to push the Nigerian narrative out there. So you need a platform outside the country, and look at what we are seeing. I think it's a lesson to every leader out there, that regardless of what you are doing, regardless of how rich you want to become, whether you want to siphon money or you want to be rich overnight as a politician, there has to be a local platform, right? When it comes to business, when it comes to media, health, anything, there should be a local platform. We must not rely on international platforms to get things done.
Well, I wasn't seeing it from that angle until you mentioned the fact that if we look at it from the perspective of being an affront to Nigeria, an affront to the First Lady of the country, then we beg the question, when the broadcaster, you know, Tony Perkins said that, the common question, the popular question should have been that, would you have denied a United States administrator or someone in the party or maybe
a platform?
Exactly. Would you have denied them a platform? And it also begs the question of how Nigeria is being perceived in the outside world, I mean, the outside community and all of that. You know, I also wanted to ask the question from Tony Perkins, if you say this, are you really doing justice, or are you doing right by journalism?
That's not journalism.
Because it's unethical to say you are denying. It's not that the people are the people you're working for. You're working for the masses.
People want to hear from you.
Yes, so the information you are sharing or whatever will be shared on your platform is not about you. So if you say I or we denied, that's more like you're robbing people of a chance to listen to her. I mean, everybody, even in the court of law, if someone kills someone, he has the right to a lawyer, right? So he has the right to be heard, like you mentioned. It's a constitutional, you know, right of everybody to be heard, even if it's going to be a wrong thing. There was a time an international person also had a conversation with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, and more like he was saying that he was lying on national television. It was, and I didn't like the whole stuff, how it came about, because he was saying, he was asking question, and Yusuf Tugar was trying to answer, but he was cutting in and saying, you know, I think you're lying. I think what you're saying is different. But it's all about, well, we understand while, you know, let me now get back to what I intend to say about that particular. So let me take it a step away from what happened with Remi Tinubu, and let's talk about the real issue about the Christian genocide. You know, just there's been so much talks about it. But I think one of the things that happened was after Donald Trump made that comment or described Nigeria as a country of peculiar or particular concern, if you like, it ruffled many feathers. Right. And a lot of persons were questioning many things, right? Some did not see, others have known, but now it brought it out. It made a lot of noise about it, and then it raised dust as well. But one thing I want to say, I was remembering something when I was little. There was a local lamp that we use. They call it atukpa in Yoruba. And there's a saying that atukpa can read diary. Like a lamp would not see the bottom because the surface area, it's more like a cup like this. Right. So if you place it where it's placing, the surface area it is, it will be, yes, there will not be light there. It's just to tell that even when you drive, you should understand why long vehicles put it at the back, long vehicle. List is long. They are telling you if you want to overtake at your risk.
It's not saying that the rear that much, so you have to be careful.
Yes. So that's exactly where I'm going. Because there's a point you drive to when you try to overtake that will become a blind spot for that long vehicle. If you know, I've seen a lot of cases like that where they say, that guy, he chased us out of the road. No, he didn't chase you. He can't see you from that. It's called a blind spot, right? And it's also true of humans. I have blind spot that I don't see. I have places that are not so well that I need to work on. And someone else will see and will tell me, which is okay to do. And just the same goes for politics, for government, for leaders. There are blind spots of every administration. Talk about the U.S. current administration, there are a lot of issues also. The Donald Trump administration. Talk about any government. There's always a blind spot for every administration. It makes a lot of sense if people see it, but what really matters is not really the awareness of the wrong. It's the ability to help to better that wrong. If anybody can see my wrongs, anybody can say anything about it, but how many persons can bring constructive ideology or criticism to say, oh, this is one thing I think you should do? But that's exactly the case. I'm saying there's a blind spot of this administration. The United States brought it out to say, okay, there's something you should do about this, and they are even collaborating, which is a good thing. But I also wanted to mention that I think the current administration should not see this as an affront, should not see this as an attack on their personality or the government, because some have now attributed it to say a lot of things are happening at this time because some want the president out. That is not, I won't say that's a lie. I won't say that's not existing or that's not even a reality in some corners. But I'm saying that much more than that, let's look at this issue also. If someone has said, I know there's something that you need to fix, let's look at it together and let's fix it. Because But the narrative will still continue if we don't really do what we're supposed to. Because some have also blamed this government. They have blamed them to be complicit to many of these crimes, these insurgents and all of this.
It's about the body language.
You get. So that's exactly the case for many. But that's why they don't want to believe this administration is doing enough. In fact, the U.S. government recently said again, I think one of their representatives said that, oh yes, I'm not sure Nigerian governments are doing enough. They need to do more. Because we are now seeing this. It's now coming in numbers. There are many people dying, and some of them are, linked to genocide one way or the other. Even if it's not a Christian genocide, it's going to be a Muslim kind of genocide. So there's been that conversation of genocide. But what is the Nigerian government doing? Instead of being interested in passing or talking about this thing, let's work. Really, let's work. They talk. I mean, how do they put it? Let's do the real job. Not just. I know it's okay to go out there to speak about it, but I also wanted to quickly refer to what the president, the First Lady said, the wife of the president said when she visited during the prayer meeting conference in the U.S. and then the United States president said, "Oh yeah." And maybe made a comment about Tinubu. I didn't like the fact that the First Lady was happy about it, because I saw it in the news where she was saying, "Oh yes, our leaders are not being respected in our home, but if you go outside the world, they respect us." That she was surprised that the U.S. president noticed her, and I was asking, really, is it really about noticing you, or because he could? if you say she's a well-respected or she's a respected person, which that's okay, but that's not really what will bring
I think,
salvation to the country, if so to say.
We just spoke about respect. We spoke about world outlook. How do people see you out there? How other countries see you? How individuals from other countries see your country and even see your people out there. You also mentioned about Yusuf Tuga having an interview, and then a broadcaster was, blatantly telling him he was lying on national TV, on international television, let me put it that way. That was an insult, an affront to the Nigerian state, being the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And, one of the things you have to first strive for as an administration that just came to power is world recognition. How are people seeing you out there? So when they see you, it becomes very easy for you to get a bilateral agreements that suit your country from these people. And, no country can survive alone. I mean, no country is an island. You can't have it all. Even the US signs agreements with all other countries and say, look, you have this, we have this, let's exchange. I mean, it could be intellectual exchange. Oh, you have this particular thing, oh, we have this, let's exchange. I mean, how do you say about the US putting up a form of entry into America and say, look, we need nurses, we need doctors, and they're coming in? It's an exchange, right? If you don't know how best to put these things you have to use, some countries will come for it, right? That's exactly what you see where you talk about brain drain in the Nigerian system. Even teachers are being moved to some countries. I know that English teachers, for example, from Nigeria are moving to China, they're moving to Korea, and I think Turkey too. Yes, they moved to Turkey too. You know why? Because they are in demand there. If they are not being recognized or being given the kind of respect they deserve in their country, they leave. And that is exactly the same thing with international power. You gain recognition. You bring yourself to prominence. And the moment you are there, it is easy for you to negotiate deals, right? You can imagine if for a country that is still being ravaged by war, as we speak, and then you want to negotiate with a country like Russia, you'll be at a disadvantage because they know they are helping you outrightly. Right? They see the deal you are signing, the bilateral agreements, as a way of helping you as a country. In fact, some of them might even consider it an hate. But the truth of the matter is, you're also bringing something to the table, right? But the real thing is, if the First Lady saw it as, as a plus, and of course sees it as an achievement to be recognized by the President of the United States, I think it has to be on a personal level. As a country, I think we should have grown beyond that particular level. And you also mentioned something, about broadcasting. You see, there is ethical broadcasting, and there is something we might also call, broadcasting of necessity. You see, when you chase clout, right, you might do broadcasting of necessity. Oh, this is what I want to do right now, and it is necessary for me to chase clout, you'll do it. I mean, we've seen people, express that on TV, on national TV, everywhere. But the truth of the matter is, eventually, what do you stand to profit? Degrading people and then bringing them down just because you want to gain clout. The remark, for me, sounded more. You have said it shouldn't be more or less like, but it sounded more like a disrespect to Nigeria as a country. And I'm still going back to my point. As a country, promote your own. I think there was a time they say, buy Naira, grow Naira, right? You buy things from Nigerians, you pay in Naira, it strengthens your currency. That's exactly why you patronize Nigerian media. You put information out there. Even international media will be looking and sourcing for details from the local media. Otherwise, you continue to chase them while you are killing the local media. And it has repeated itself over and over again. Past administrations have done it. They need validation from international media. The moment there is something happening in the country, once they have not been on those channels, they feel they have not done anything. They feel nobody is listening to them. And that's totally wrong. You can do it within, the confines of your country, provided you are promoting and championing the cause of giving the voice to the voiceless. And that's the basics. You can imagine it's just as good as you going to other countries and importing cars, and you produce cars in Nigeria too. I mean, you manufacture cars. So how do you compare? I mean, does your economy intend to thrive when you are putting all your eggs in one basket out there? So Nigeria is at a disadvantage. And I do hope that an administration will come, or probably this administration, that will notice the necessity to strengthen local media. Otherwise, Nigeria is not doing enough when it comes to... We have spoken about every administration that has come on board since 2003, right? 1999, let me put it that way. One thing they have not gotten right is disseminating information. you might be doing so much, but yet people will consider it as, it's not about saying, you can use the big words to give information, but then do the people who really need this information understand what exactly you are doing out there? I was talking to someone yesterday from, from a particular community. I was saying, oh, they said by the end of March, they'll be taking money from our accounts. I was like, who told you that? That's the interpretation of what Oloide has been saying, that she has. What if someone comes and breaks it down in proper Yoruba, proper Igbo, proper Hausa, and people will understand in details what exactly is going on in the country? Otherwise, people will think, oh, he's doing nothing. Oh, these decisions are against the people. It's anti-people. And then you see the elite coming to plug into that lacuna to propagate, unnecessary details about the administration out there. And until that is corrected, we are still going to be going around the same circle.
Let me just speak on one of the things you said. I think you've made the right point by saying there's a disconnect between the government's bodies
and the people.
And exactly. So even the parastatals, the government agencies and ministries are not really connected to, because I never thought it this way, that we could have that translation of the new tax reform in every of the languages. What is National Orientation Agency doing about that? That's something I think we should put it forward to them, really. It's something to think about. Instead of just 747, I'm tired of that particular 747. We've seen it enough. Please give us something else. Give us something in Yoruba, Hausa, and English.
Other languages.
And every other languages. I mean, it's so that people can understand. Because at the end of this, it's about the people. Or is it not? If it's about the people, then do it for the people. Right? I also wanted to make a mention of something very quickly. And it was the fact that there's a way that you do so much that you are even tired of talking. And then international media would look out for you to say, there's something you are doing, I would like to speak about it. Instead of just saying that I'm looking for a platform. If we really tighten our loose ends, I'm saying that even these Tony Perkins and the likes would want to have a conversation. They would write to you, you would deny, because you are busy doing what you're doing.
Let me quickly cite an instance. As a publisher, right? If there's a story out there that you think the people would love to read, I mean, you don't need anybody to pay you before you publish.
You can even pay to get the story.
You can pay to get the story. That's what I'm saying. So you get scoop, not because they are paying you to put it out there, but because you feel like this will generate traffic for me. And you look for it anywhere. But unfortunately, if you are not doing the right thing, you continue to chase the media. And that's the point. So instead of chasing the media, make the media chase you. And of course, they will look for you.
Walk the talk. Focus on the job.
That's it. Well, it's a fine place to leave that particular conversation. Let's help you navigate the day and see what exactly weather looks like across the country this morning.